Hello everybody, hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at this coastal storm that's going to be impacting parts of the mid-Atlantic and northeast, potentially with some snowfall. Right now it's looking like some rainfall on the models, but we are going to be looking at a couple model ones that did show snowfall and quite significant snowfall over parts of the coastal mid-Atlantic and northeast with this system, and it's really just a couple 50 to 100 miles is drastically going to change this system and how it's going to play out, and we're going to be going over different scenarios and then also breaking down really what's going to need to happen in order for us to see some snowfall if you do live in the northeast or mid-Atlantic, and we're going to be going over multiple storm tracks here. So let's get right into the video here. We have our National Weather Service pulled up. We have high wind warnings in effect for parts. Well, actually, these are high wind watches in effect for north central Montana, winter weather advisories for parts of Washington as well as Missouri and Illinois. We have those winter weather advisories for Missouri and Illinois are actually from that system we talked about on Monday, I believe, and that was over parts of the south central United States. That dumped about a foot in some areas, even a little bit more in a couple areas in Kansas. I saw reports of that, and this is going to be tracking through and into Missouri, but it's going to be a light snowfall, maybe a coating, maybe 1 to 3 inches at best if you outperform with this system, but nothing too crazy if you do live in those areas. But other than that, very quiet over much of the area for the entire United States. The only thing that is noteworthy to talk about is all this moisture coming on to the Pacific, which is kind of all, even that has died down a little bit, as well as this low pressure that's going to form out in the Gulf, and we'll have to see what the track is, potentially move up the East Coast here. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, here's the Weather Prediction Center's 4 to 7 day forecast as far as who could see a quarter of an inch of liquid equivalent of snow or sleet, which is basically a way of them saying who's going to see about 2 inches or more of snowfall and the probability of those people seeing it. So you see, this is for day 4, so this is just for Sunday, and this would be 10 to 30% chance here in this light green, and that's for parts of northwestern New Jersey and into parts of northeast Pennsylvania, into parts of southern upstate New York, and through almost all of New England except for the northern most parts of New England. And then as you get into Canada, into eastern Canada, Nova Scotia, that area, you're seeing potentially a 30 to 50% chance of seeing over 2 inches of snow or ice. Now, after that, as we get into your Monday, it's pretty much out of here, and it's kind of all the way into eastern Canada, where you're really the only people seeing that threat for any snowfall of this. So basically, it's gonna be just a Saturday and Sunday event, and that's pretty much it. And it looks to be quite a fast mover. You don't have too much blocking out in the Atlantic to keep it staying stationary for the most part. Now, here is the European model, and we're gonna start off with the European model here. Now, we're going to go for your precipitation type first. So here's Friday, getting into your Saturday morning here, and you have rain for much of the southeastern United States, and it's going to be too warm. Here's your freezing line, 32 degrees at the surface, is this red line right here. So you see we have rain just to the southeast of this because you don't have any of that cold air, and this is your nor'easter, your low pressure tucked away, something like this, and that's going to track up and to the northeast, and we'll have to see what this storm track ends up being. So this is, again, this is one model run from one model of the European model. And here, getting into your Saturday, seeing that rain moving up the coast, getting into your Saturday morning, you're seeing that rain snow line develop. And according to this model, it has some icy precipitation going through parts of northern New Jersey, through southern Pennsylvania, and into Maryland and Virginia, and then has some snowfall on the northwest side of that. And that would be for Saturday morning, and then really rain for the coast and very light snowfall if you get anywhere north of the coastal areas, and then really bombs out. Your low pressure is tucked away right around here, and you have that northwest flow of your air, and that's bringing in that cold air. It's also probably, I would guess, a 960 or a 970 low by this point, which is very deepened low pressure system, and that's right around Nova Scotia right there. So that would be delivering a lot of snowfall if you do live in those areas. Now, here's your total snowfall from this event, and you see it dumped a lot of snow over eastern Canada, but if you live in the northeast, you're not seeing a lot of snowfall. Even the interior portions may be seeing a dusting to an inch of snowfall if this were to occur from the European model. Now, one thing I want you to notice is that this low pressure system, the entire time, I'll go back to here. This low pressure system was kind of out to shore and kind of moving. Your low pressure would be here, and it's kind of moving out like this. Now, for a nor'easter that would deliver a lot of snow to the coastal areas, you want a track that's closer to the coast and kind of something like this. And you kind of want it south of Cape Cod. Or where that low pressure would be positioned. So with this look, you wouldn't get a lot of snowfall. But notice that in the past couple of storm systems, we've seen just like that storm that we saw, I think, last weekend. That one tracked about 100 to 200 miles northwest in the last 2 or 3 days, and this could definitely happen with this system. Now, if this system moves 100 miles northwest, it's all of a sudden it's a big snowmaker for the coastal area. So I'm not calling for that quite yet, and I'll definitely have snowfall forecast on this if we do need snowfall forecast for this event. But if that were to happen, you would have a big coastal storm, and if it moved a little bit, maybe 200, 250 miles northwest, it would be more for the mid to northern parts of the northeast, right around that area. That's where your bullseye would be. So a big difference, and just maybe a couple hundred miles, or just 50 miles, 100 miles, makes a really big difference in this type of scenario. Now, I want to show you a model run. This is coming from the 12Z model run, the midday model run on the 24th, and this is from the same model, the European model, and this is going to show you what a classic blizzard, or at least very heavy snowfall, would look like for the northeast. And I'm not calling for this at all. I'm just wanting to show you where your low pressure would be positioned and how it would look like if it were positioned in that way. So you see, it starts to move out, and your low pressure by this point, this would be, according to this model, Saturday morning, and you see you're already having snow breaking out. Your low pressure all the way in in the southeast Atlantic, right there, or off the shore of the southeast, and then you're starting to see it moves up to the northeast. And as we continue this, now your low pressure system is developed and it's sitting right around here. With the other European model run, you had your low pressure right around here. So that's something that we definitely have to watch out for as well. Now looking forward even more, it's south of Cape Cod, that prime area where you're going to get that enough cold air, and you're also going to be able to strengthen this low pressure system still. And then it continues, and this one produced, I'm not going to show the exact snowfall totals, but I looked at the snowfall amounts for this, showed about 2 feet of snowfall in some areas, so just ridiculous amount. And I don't think this is going to play out, but I'm just showing you what a potential storm would look like if it had all these characteristics and all the everything it needed kind of put together. Now, here is your European ensemble model. So this is a group of a bunch of ensemble models, and we're gonna look at this. Now, this is your average out for all of these models. Now, this is your mean standard level pressure, MSLP, and this basically shows the lighter colors that indicates a low pressure system, and the higher colors, or these reds and these browns, they indicate your high pressures. So you see, here are all your low pressure systems from all of these different ensemble members, and you see they're scattered about. At this point, where you want them to be is somewhere right around here. This is where you want your low pressures to be, and you see we have a couple of your low pressures systems in that area by Saturday night, and then getting into your Saturday morning, you see we have even more in that same area. So about a third, maybe a quarter of these storm tracks are within a primal location for seeing quite a bit of snowfall if you live in the coastal northeast or mid-Atlantic. Now, here is your averaged out one. So taking all those and then averaging out what that's showing, and you see it's tracking for North Carolina by Saturday morning, and you see this one is just out to see just enough. And kind of too close to the shore, actually, and that would be bring kind of your heaviest snow, I guess you could say, which is still very light snow, 2 parts of the interior northeast, but As we continue this, it starts to move into Canada and deepens a lot. And this is your average. If you have an average low pressure of about 965, that means that a couple of models will probably have it in the 950s, 960s. So I know this might be a bit scientific, but it's what we have to look at when we have so much uncertainty. You have to go a little bit more scientific than just looking at the models. Otherwise, you're never going to get a perfect forecast, or at least even an accurate forecast at that. Now, here's what the European Ensemble, the EPS European Ensemble shows as far as snowfall, and it shows maybe a dusting to parts of the coastal northeast, and then the interior northeast could get maybe an inch to 2 inches if this were to play out correctly. So I'm definitely going to have more updates on this for those who do live in this area, and I'll definitely be tracking this out with you, and I'll definitely probably, depending on whether this system actually goes just off to sea or if this system goes onto land and is actually impacting parts of the United States, I will make a forecast on that. But if it goes off to sea, I'm not going to make a snowfall forecast on that, as it's going off to sea, and pretty much nobody's going to get impacted by it. Now, that is going to wrap the video. Please consider subscribing and leave one like on the video, as well as turning on notifications, as you do make these videos daily, so you never miss a video when I do upload. Anyways, guys, that was Eli's Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.